Hello and welcome to Business Daily on Trust Television. I am your host, Christiana Amodu-Otinya. On this program, we bring you updates and factual information from the world of business, finance, commerce, trade, and the stock market is not left out. Trust us to give you this information, accurate information as they come out. And of course, we have experts and analysts come on the program to share perspective on diverse issues as they affect the Nigerian economy across the board. Now, let's first begin with the headline. We begin from the banking system. Online banking in transactions up 42% on mobile phones, internet growth in Nigeria. NAIRA stabilization. The Central Bank of Nigeria defends currency with $11.24 billion in 7 months in the year 2022. We'll bring you more updates in the world of business in the Business Roundup segment of the program. However, I'll take a short breather. When I return, it'll be time to go into the stock market. Please stay. Welcome back. Now let's go into the stock market and see what the numbers are saying. Let's try to humanize the number and tell you what's happening with the stock market's number. Now, the Nigeria Exchange finished marginally lower, 0.01%. As you can see there, the all-share index, as the benchmark all-share index, settled at 43,942.82. Now, we saw this marginal close and we saw that the market capitalization shared at about 2 billion naira, 0.01%. Now the equity cap settled at 25.95 trillion naira. On activity scale, now a total volume of 172.9 million shares valued at 2.84 billion naira changed hands in 3,073 deals on the local bourse. Of course, we have seen the local bourse stay largely resilient, and we expect, market analysts expect, that the market is going to finish the week largely in green territory. Let's go over to other African markets, talking about what's happening in Johannesburg and what's happening in Ghana. For the JSE is opening lower, I beg your pardon, there, 0.31%. And in Ghana, we are seeing the marginal open there, positive 0.01%. Now, there's a lot happening, especially in South Africa, looking at this index now. Talking about economic woes, and we are seeing issues, we are seeing news about issues coming up for President Cyril Ramaphosa and his government. So there's still a lot going on, especially in this strait. Remember, the JSE is the biggest stock exchange on the African continent, and whatever happens on the economic front has a direct nexus with what happens, especially in the front of the stock market. After all, the stock market has been tagged the barometer of the nation's economy. Let's go over now to the United States and see what's happening, especially in Wall Street. Now, the Dow Jones Industrial Average, the S&P 500, all are staying significantly lower, 0.56% and 0.09% here. However, the tech-heavy Nasdaq Composite is up 0.13% at 11,482.45. Now, the focus for those in the United States now, that's in Wall Street, is really on the jobs report that is expected to come in. So there's a lot of focus on that. What's happening around unemployment, underemployment, and job growth in the United States. Let's go over to the European straits. Now, European markets opened lower as investors closely monitored news from China over its zero COVID-19 policy and looked ahead to the U.S. non-farm payrolls data. Now, it's mostly red for European markets here, from the FTSE 100 in the United Kingdom to the CAC 40 in France, the CAC 40, and the DAX in Germany. We're seeing major indexes finish lower, 0.46%, 0.36%, and 0.16% there, respectively. Now, over to the Asia-Pacific region. Markets in Asia mostly fell, while investors looked for clarity for issues around China as a signal a slight easing of the stringent COVID-19 restrictions. Now, it's also a sea of red for markets in the Asia-Pacific. Now, in mainland China, the Shanghai Composite is down 0.29%. The Nikkei 225 in Japan shed 1.59%, And in South Korea, the Kospi is down 1.84% there. Now, it's also important to state that inflation numbers in South Korea missed expectations. And remember, that's really a key data that the stock market and investors in that market that they monitor. And also, India is projected to overtake Japan and Germany to become the world's third largest economy. Now, this according to S&P Global and Morgan Stanley. India recorded a year-on-year GDP growth of 6.3%. Now, India is on its way to become the third largest economy in the globe, talking about issues around a surge in its GDP growth. Also staying with the Asia Pacific region, the Economic Intelligence Unit has released this report, and Singapore is actually the most expensive city to live in. I think Singapore ties with New York in the United States, talking about the most expensive cities to live in the world. And these are some of the data that those on the markets are really monitoring. Let's go over to the commodities straight and see what that chart is like. So it's a mixed bag. We have 3 reds and 3 greens for this chart. The Brent crude international benchmark for crude oil, $86.72 per barrel, down 0.18%. Now, for the oil market, prices are edging lower, and this is as a result of issues around the COVID-19 curbs in 2 of Chinese cities with limited losses. Meanwhile, now the European Union governments tentatively agreed on a $60 per barrel price cap on Russian seaborne oil, with an adjustment mechanism to keep the cap at 5% below the market price. This has been really a key focus for the oil market. However, for the bullion, gold is doing $1,800.20 per ounce, and these prices are largely flat as those on the markets awaited the U.S. job report, and also a retreat in the dollar is helping the price of gold, as you can see here. For agro commodities, we're seeing palm oil, wheat, and cocoa. Cocoa is at $2,472, up 0.86%, and for wheat, 747.13 there. Now, these numbers are largely in the green arrows. You can see the arrows pointing up for these agro commodities. For palm oil is still staying lower, 2.11% there. That's the downgrade we are seeing for palm oil. The markets, of course, are monitoring what's happening in Malaysia. The season is also affecting what we are seeing with prices of palm oil. Many will ask, where should really the focus really be, especially for a country like Nigeria that seeks to diversify its economy from a mainstay of up here. Now we have $86.72 per barrel for oil. However, palm oil is doing $3,988 per metric ton. Now, if you juxtapose these prices, it really begs to question where the focus should be. It is said that it's going to be a marathon and not a sprint for Nigeria to fully diversify her economy. But then this should be where eyes should be focused on. And there's been a lot of impact, especially from the government with regards to putting the agricultural sector, taking it back to its glory days, that it was really the focus for the Nigerian economy. Going now to crypto, watch what's happening with that market. We are seeing the markets coming back into positive territory. For Bitcoin, the flagship cryptocurrency, $16,960. Ethereum is at $1,276. And for the Binance coin, $296. 2 cents. As you can see there, the Binance coin is the only one on this chart at down 1.92%. Of course, the wars is still continuing in the cryptocurrency market, and like experts and those who monitor the market, even the SEC in Nigeria, as a matter of fact, has stated, before you invest in this market, be sure that you understand the rudiments around how these markets work. Subsequently on the program, we'll definitely look at investment opportunities in the capital market for those that want to really go into the capital market and invest their monies in a safe space. Those are the numbers we have for you on the program this morning. However, let's quickly give you updates from business news and the business roundup segment. Take a listen.
The Central Bank of Nigeria injected $11.24 billion into the economy to stabilize the value of the Naira from January 2022 to July 2022. This was obtained in the banking regulator's monthly economic reports and foreign exchange market developments. The reports show that $7.6 billion was used to stabilize the Naira in the first 5 months of the year. In an earlier report, the CBN said it had intervened in the markets with $1.65 billion, $1.39 billion, and $1.82 billion in January, February, and March, while the interventions were $1.56 billion and $1.18 billion in April and May. The CBN had been intervening in the foreign exchange market to stabilize the economy and respond to growing demand in the market. Nigeria is mainly an import-dependent country, which makes demand for dollars to import inputs and buy finished products high. The total value of electronic transactions recorded under the Nigerian Interbank Settlement System instant payment increased by 42% in 9 months, owing to the steady rise in mobile telephony and internet penetration. According to the data, the value of transactions processed through the Nigerian Instant Payments Platform amounted to 272 trillion naira from January to September 2022, compared to 216 trillion naira in the same period of 2021. With respect to other payment channels, transactions processed through the mobile inter-scheme channel increased by 153% to 12.9 trillion naira from 5.1 trillion naira in the same period last year. The value of point-of-sale transactions processed through POS channels grew 31% to 6.1 trillion naira in the 9 months ended September 30, 2022, from 4.6 trillion naira in the same period of 2021. The e-bills pay channel, primarily used for recurring bill payments, grew by 37% to 2.2 trillion naira from 1.6 trillion naira in the same period of 2021. The total value of payments made via checks in the 9-month period to September 2022 was 2.4 trillion naira, a 4.3% increase from the 2.3 trillion naira recorded in 2021.
Welcome back. There you have it, business stories from the world of business. Now, our focus on the program today will be on the unending fuel scarcity issues in Nigeria. There's really been a whole lot of intrigues around what's happening with fuel scarcity in the country. There's been also blame games been going on here and there. The marketers are saying that they need the sector to be fully deregulated, as they get from the depots at about 205 to 210 naira, and they cannot come and sell below their cost price. And the government is saying we have enough products to serve as far as 34 days, advising against panic buying, advising against issues around hoarding. Now, it begs the question as to what will be the way forward to end the issue of perennial fuel scarcity in the country, because then again, issues around fuel has a direct impact on the prices of food, a direct impact on production capacity in the country. Because when we see food prices go up, we see the price of fuel go up, we see how that has a direct impact on what we get from the marketplaces when Nigerians go into the markets. I am being joined on the program now by Dr. Onaiwu Odua. He's Director Maritime and ICT Center at the University of Benin, and also a member Society of Petroleum Engineers. He will be sharing perspective on what really should be the solution to fuel scarcity issues, especially looking at the economic impact on the Nigerian economy and Nigeria's citizenry. Hello, Doctor.
Good morning. Nice to be on the program.
Thank you. Thank you for joining us. Just before we go on a short break, I just want to have your assessment. What's the situation like, especially with regards to scarcity of petroleum products in Benin City, where you are?
Thank you very much. At present, you get fuel to buy at 250, 239, 240. So different price at different fuel station. So depend on which one is convenient for you to buy. So the issue of scarcity is not really there, but the price is the issue.
Okay, so then we don't have long queues in Benin City then?
No, not really.
Okay, thank you so much, Doctor. We'll come back to you for more on this conversation after this short break. Of course, I hold my horses here. After this break, the program continues. Please stay with us.
documenting the Nigerian story.
Welcome back, and thank you for still staying there with us on the program. If you're just joining in, this is Business Daily coming to you from Trust Television. Of course, trust us to give you all the information. Trust us, remember, it's very critical. Trust us to give you all the information you need in the world of business and news making the rounds, factual news making the rounds in the polity. Now, our focus today is, of course, on the fuel sector, the oil and gas sector. We've seen long queues return to across different parts of Nigeria, in the Federal Capital Territory, in Abuja, in the commercial hub of the country, Lagos State, and some other parts of the country. I still have my guest with me. He's Dr. Naira Odua. He's joining me from Benin City, and he has mentioned that the main issue for them over there is the issue of pricing. However, let's take this press statement now from the Nigerian Midstream and Downstream Petroleum Regulatory Authority, and now they are saying that price and supply premium motor spirit, saying the advisory addresses speculations on the price and availability of premium motor spirit PMS. The authority wishes to inform the general public that the federal government has no intention of increasing the price of PMS during this period. The Nigerian National Petroleum Corporation Limited has imported PMS with current stock levels sufficient for 34 days. Consequently, marketers and the general public are advised to avoid panic buying, diversion of products, and hoarding. In keeping with the authority's responsibility as outlined in the Petroleum Industry Act, the PIA, the authorities assures the public that it would continue to monitor the supply and distribution of all petroleum products nationwide, especially during this holiday season. Now, we are hearing that from the NMDPRA. I want to go directly now to my guest, Dr. Odua. I want to hear your thoughts. Now, the federal government is saying there is petroleum products sufficient for as much as 34 days. And we have long queues that have surfaced. Of course, we just said there are no queues in Benin City, but in the Federal Capital Territory here, we see long queues. And the government is saying we have fuel. In another breath, the marketers are saying that, oh, we cannot sell at this price. It's looking like a situation of the more you look for this fuel, the less you're getting it. Now, I want to get your thoughts. What's your assessment?
Okay, thank you. Almost when NNPC or the regulatory body give the impression that we have fuel for 34 days, that's enough to cause panic buying. If you calculate 34 days from today, we are looking into maybe by 2nd of January, if we don't refill our reserves, it would go out. So as a result, you find that the marketers, they want to also make quick money. So a situation where they look 34 days, sooner or later, won't have much fuel, so they tend to increase price. They have a cartel that does this. The United States, for instance, they have what we call the strategic reserve. We are talking about 34 days. In the US, the strategic reserve lasts for about 100 years. So if there's no fuel, crude oil production as of today, the US have enough fuel that can last them for the next 100 years. And we're talking about just 34 days. So that statement that we have 34 days fuel in the tank is causing a lot of panic. For me, it's enough to give me a source for concern. That means we have enough to last for the next 6 months or a year. I can look at it that there's no need to panic buy at the moment. That's my perspective on that.
Dr. Odua, I also want you to speak to issues. You just mentioned the fact that the marketers are going to jack up prices, but the marketers have also said now, not holding brief for them, they have said that they get this product at 205, 210 naira, and they wouldn't want to sell below their cost price because they are in this business to make profit. And they are calling for a full deregulation of the downstream sector in Nigeria. The government have said fuel subsidy will be gone for forever in the year 2023. What are your thoughts on fully deregulating the sector to allow market forces have control of that sector and control ultimately of price?
Okay, there's two angles to the issue of subsidy. There's the legitimate subsidy and the illegitimate subsidy. The legitimate one is one that gets to us in terms of the people out there on the streets. The illegitimate one is the one that belongs to the political class. They know what they want to do with it. First and foremost, the law of business. You're in business to survive, and after that, make profit. There's no way the marketer will get the price at 210 and sell less than that. You definitely up the price. So going forward, the issue of subsidy, since there's some part of it that is illegitimate, we don't. We're talking about we use about close to 90 million liters a day. To me, we don't use up to 60 million liters. Where does the other 30 million liters goes? So subsidy should be taken out of it. Find a way to cushion the effects among the populace. We know that increase the price of foodstuff and other items, increase worker salary, create safety nets that will help the citizenry to be able to adapt, and then let the market determine the price. Look at the GSM. When it started years back, it was expensive, but today, as low as 100 naira, you can get a line. If we'll follow the same trend, if we'll have the right policy, the right environment, the so-called issue of pricing, it will go up, it will go down. Remember the time of President Musa Yar'Adua, fuel price went up, and when the prices in the international market went down, they reduced the price. That is what food regulation will do. So the right way to go is to remove subsidy. Let market forces determine how it goes. The marketers, they are being constrained. Take note, it is not the amount we load in Lagos to Benin. That is not the amount we take to a place like Kaduna or maybe Kano or Maiduguri. You're going to look at the distance. That will add additional costs. But if you regulate it, allow people to sell based on how they buy.
Dr. Oduah, I also want to, as a means of getting your final thoughts for the program today, I want you to speak to solutions, especially solutions going forward. Now, it's almost like every three months we get to see these queues resurface in the country, especially when when people are planning to go into the holiday season, and we know the traction in terms of purchases that go around this season. What do you think can be done? Let's look at short-term quick fixes now to help solve this problem. In 1 minute, sir.
Okay. I know that in Nigeria, we have about 4 strategic reserves that were built during the Musa Shagari's tenure. But those reserves, they were abandoned. If our government can quickly go back, fix those strategic reserves, have enough fuel that can last for up to a year or 2, that would, first of all, give people, the marketers, confidence in the supply chain. Because normally subsidy, fuel scarcity is a function of supply and demand. If I have more than enough supply, it will balance the price. It will also cushion the rush for panic buying. So the right way to go, let the government go back to those strategic reserves, do something about it. We should be able to have fuel that can last us for more than a year or 2, like what is done in the United States. That will quickly solve the issue. Those strategic reserves, they are there just to quickly rehabilitate them and then put enough fuel there instead of loading and putting them at private depot. And those guys can hold us to ransom.
Thank you so much. I have been speaking with Dr. Onaiwu Oduah, Director of Maritime and ICT Center at the University of Benin and also a member Society of Petroleum Engineers. Thank you for coming on the program, Dr. Oduah.
Thank you very much.
And that's where we wrap it up for Business Daily today. Like Dr. Odua rightly stated, it is time to begin to harness reserves that can serve as buffers, especially for the petroleum sector in Nigeria, so that Nigerians will have PMS that they can use to run their vehicles, run their businesses, and indeed put the economy at optimal performance levels. Thank you for investing your time with us on the program today. Remember, you can catch up on this program and other programs on Trust Television's social media platforms. Get the news making the round in the polity as the news breaks. Factual news, of course, Trust Television to bring it to your screens. Continue to stay safe and enjoy the rest of your day. I am your host, Christiana Amodu Otinya. Goodbye for now.